Salamun alaikum. Welcome to The Awaited, a unique show produced by Imam Hussein TV, allowing you an insight into the history, life, legacy, and future promise of the awaited Savior, Imam Al Mahdi alayhi salam. On the day of Ashura, 72 brave individuals sacrificed their lives in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in full, unwavering servitude to the Imam of their time, Imam Al Hussein alayhi salam, ruhi lahu al-fida. Since then, their names, their actions have left behind a legacy that we as individuals strive to achieve even a percentage of today. Much has been written and spoken about these companions. Yet, are their qualities the same qualities as the Imam of our time looking for? In this revealing episode of The Awaited, many questions are raised about the 313. A very famous number that we strive for and we hear about all the time, but hardly understand. What is the difference between Ashab and Ansaar? What do our traditions and literature say about the key characteristics of the companions of Imam Al Mahdi, Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif? These massively important points will help create a criteria that the Imam is looking for, helping us better ourselves to be of the 313. Today I have with me Islamic seminary student, Khadim Al Hussein, and speaker, Sheikh Ibraheim Al Ansari, who will help me uncover some of these characteristics. Sheikhna, Salamun alaikum.
Alaykum as-salam wa rahmatullah.
Being of the 313 is a massive achievement. Can you tell us more about how we can strive to be one of the 313?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salam ala Muhammadin wa ala ali bayti al-tayyibin al-tahirin. First of all, أعظم الله لكم الأجر. And secondly, the 313 is a big subject. Of course, it diverts into, are there only 313? Are there more than 313? But how about being one of the 313? Understanding that the companions of the Imam are not just 313. There will be more than that. And logically, that also makes sense. We understand that 313, the number of Badr, of the companions of Badr, will be the number of the main rulers, let's say, or the closest in proximity to the Imam. So in order for me to reach such a thing, I need to hold specific characteristics. I need to hold specific aqa'id, and I need to be of those that are close in proximity to Allah Azza wa Jal. What do I mean with that? First of all, I need to have what allows the word Shi'i to apply to me. Because I cannot be the 313 if I am not a Shia. I cannot be a 313 if I am not close in proximity to Allah Azza wa Jal. I cannot be a 313 if I leave my prayers and I leave my fasting and I leave my Hajj and I leave all the other obligatory acts that have been made obligatory upon me by Allah Azza wa Jal. If we have narrations that say our intercession does not reach certain individuals, such as the one who takes their prayers lightly, if intercession doesn't reach such a person, do you think then Imam would accept him as one of the 313? Of course not. This is from one aspect. From another aspect, it is to understand that there are certain qualities which we mentioned, if you remember, with Uthman ibn Sa'id, which is trustworthiness and truthfulness. Those two qualities I must have. You know, there's a narration, I believe, from Imam Sadiq alayhi afdalu salati wassalam. He says, ثلاث لم يجعل الله فيها رخصة. There are three things Allah left no excuse in them. There is, for example, if you are pork, for example, is haram to eat. At a time when you have nothing else to eat except for pork, and you are in an extreme state of hunger such that you are about to die, you can eat some of it enough for your survival, correct? Some things, no, there is no rukhsa in them. Allah Azza wa Jal has not given any exceptions to them.
Like?
For example, birrul walidain. Whether they are believers or whether they are disbelievers. In fact, some of our narrations say that if your mother or father is a disbeliever, your birr should be multiplied to show them how a true Muslim is. And we have many examples where a person who has come to the faith of Islam becomes closer to their parents, and as a result of getting closer to their parents, suddenly starting to kiss the hand of his mother every time he enters the house, treating her in a much better manner, she also becomes a Muslim as a result of it. This is one example. Another example is trustworthiness to those who have proclaimed Islam and to those who are disbelievers. أداء الأمانة للبر والفاجر. No exception. Therefore, I as a Muslim today, and let's apply this to us, for example, now we are in the West. We deal with a lot of, for example, non-Muslims. My duty is that I must be trustworthy. When a person comes to me, when my neighbor comes to me, when I am in the shops, wherever I am, I must show the best of characters. كونوا زينا لنا ولا تكونوا شيئا علينا. Be a decoration. You've shown how beautiful are the words of Imam Sadiq. Be a decoration to us and do not be a bad example to us. So if I want to be a 313, I need to be of the best decorations of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdal salatu wassalam.
So what is the actual difference between Ashab and Ansar? Because we know at the time of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, there were Ashab and there were Ansar. The same, I assume, will be applied to Imam Sahib Zaman. What is the difference, and what category would we fall into, and what category are the 313 in?
It's a fair...
Even though it's more of a terminological sort of question, but it helps us, or helps me understand more.
Fine. It's a fair question in one sense, and I'll explain to you in what sense. It's a fair question in the sense that what comes to mind is that the Prophet had Ashab and that he had Ansar. Fine. But surely the same would not apply to Imam Al Mahdi in that sense, in the sense of the Prophet. Why? The Ashab of the Prophet are anyone who saw or interacted with the Prophet becomes a Sahabi, a companion, otherwise translated. The companions of the Prophet, what was their role? Their role is that they interacted with the Prophet or they saw the Prophet. The moment they saw the Prophet, they became of the Ashab. The Ansar during the Prophet's time were two tribes known as the Aus and the Khazraj. In the city of Medina they used to live. When the Prophet migrated from Mecca to Medina, they were his supporters that welcomed him into Medina. And his mother is from the Ansar, by the way. Amina, so his maternal uncles are actually from the Ansar, from the Khazraj. So you had Khazraj and you had Aus, they were in Medina, and those were then known as the Ansar, which is why you find, for example, Jabir ibn Abdullah Al Ansari, the great companion, and other great companions. So that is at the time of the Prophet. At the time of Imam Al Mahdi, if we want to use terminology like this, no problem, we can go with terminology like this. What we need to understand is Ansar and Ashab. The difference in translation becomes companion and supporter. Companion and supporter. Once you have a person who is a supporter of the Imam, and once you have a companion, Hesse, do you mean a close companion? I tell you 313. Do you mean companion in the sense that the Prophet was talking about anyone that interacted with him, anyone outside of the 313? Does that make that make sense?
Fully.
So that is how we would understand that. What we need to understand is that the Imam will have many supporters and many companions, and their roles will be different. For example, in Dua al-Ahd, you recite وَاجْعَلْنَا مِنْ أَنصَارِهِ وَأَعْوَانِهِ وَمِنَ الذَّابِينَ عَنْهِ وَمِنَ الْمُسَارِعِينَ إِلَىٰ قَضَاءِ حَوَائِجِهِ. Correct? So now you have Ansar, A'wan. So Ansar supporter, A'wan 8. الذَّابِينَ عَنْهِ, those that would put themselves in front of him to be martyred before him and to save him. And السارعين إلى قضاء حوائجه, those who act fast to make sure that whatever he needs is fulfilled. So these are different roles that the people will play.
Inshallah, we are falling all those categories.
Inshallah. And this is why it's also important to constantly recite Dua al-Ahd so that we become of those supporters, which is why even beautifully in that dua you will say that even if you were to die, فأخرجني من قبري مؤتزرا كفني شاهرا سيفي ملبيا دعوة الداعي في الحاضر والبادي etc. For you to be involved in that raj'ah. Anyway, to not divert, we stay within the 313. So now we have a 313. They are the qada. They are the main, let's say, government. Then the imam will have more supporters in their thousands. Those are, if you like, the soldiers, the medics, not saying that of the medics there won't be in the 313. Of course there will be
the general army.
But the general, I'm saying. So you'll have your soldier, you'll have your medic, you'll have your engineer, you'll have your whatever. Yani everything else will fall into place outside of the 313. The 313, although there will be of them as well potentially, but they are the main qada. That is the main difference.
Ahsant. Because some people, even before the show, outside the show, people have asked me, and we always used to have this debate, it's just going to be 313. Like, there's no way.
Does not make sense.
That doesn't make sense logically, and there's, I believe, narrations on it as well.
Ahsant. There's many narrations that mention 10,000, 1,000, but leave the numbers. What we need to understand, especially when you have a difference in number.
I don't, with me personally, I don't look at the numbers. I don't say I'll be part of the 10,000.
Yeah.
I want to be as best as I can. Wherever the imam puts me, he puts me.
Ahsant. But aim to be
of the best, of course.
Why? If you aim to be of the 313, that pushes you to be in closer proximity to the imam. We want to have, naturally as a human being, you want a leadership role.
Yeah.
As a human being, you want this.
Yeah.
As a human being, if you want a leadership role, you need to be 313.
Yeah.
If I want to be 313, there are characteristics that I need to hold. There are specific things that I need to know. Who will be of the 313? Who are the companions of Imam Al Mahdi? I have a point that I want to make, but I feel like I will go a bit too far. I'll let you ask your question.
I want you to go. I want you to go.
Okay, should I continue?
Yeah,
Fine.
of course. Yeah.
Let me say this to you. Imam Al Mahdi reappears. He's out of occultation. Name me 2 people that will pray behind him.
Nabi Isa and Khadr.
If I want to be 313, look at who's praying behind the imam. Look at who is praying behind the imam. I want to be 313. The examples of Nabi Allah Isa alayhi wa ala nabiyina wa alihi afdal salatu wa salam, and Al-Khidr, who Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Quran, وَآتَيْنَاهُ مِن لَدُنَّا عِلْمًا, in regards to Al-Khidr. Imagine those 2 individuals are behind the imam. If I want to be 313, how much do I need to work? How far do I need to put myself? So knowing who is with the imam, then wanting to be of the 313, allows me to get closer to Allah Azza wa Jal. It's not something small at all. I can't be of those that say, allow me to use this example, because this is an example that I feel
it's your show. Any examples you give is I'll take benefit from.
No, not at all. We benefit from you. But there's one thing that I know we have ibtila with. In certain communities, you will find individuals that come forward. They will tell you, Azadari is first. To perform matam is first. Latum, whatever you want to call it, that comes first. My question is then, is this sufficient? No.
On its own, no.
Is it something that will help me reach closer to the imam? Yes, but with my prayers.
Yeah.
Not outside of prayers. I can't take away the right of Allah and decide to go closer towards the right of the imam, because the right of the imam is the right of Allah Azza wa Jal. I establish my prayer and I go and I perform azadari. This is the idea.
Inshallah, all the azadar are from the musallin.
No, most definitely.
And inshallah, they will always serve the Ahlul Bayt and serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Most definitely, but the point is what? The point is, because you started with an introduction about Imam Al Hussein, I want to be with Imam Al Mahdi. I need to have a proximity to Imam Al Hussein, and I need to have proximity to Allah Azza wa Jal. I need both. I need the proximity to Allah Azza wa Jal. I need to be close to the Imam. Nabi Allah Isa, Al-Khidr, they will be praying behind the Imam. What qualities did they hold? Who were they? These are companions of the Imam. I want to be 313. What do I need to have? Who do I need to be? What kind of qualities do I need to hold? These are things that we must ponder about. And I'm not saying that, by the way, to put people off. I'm not saying that to make anyone think like they cannot reach such a thing. No, not at all. Inshallah, everyone can, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us and aid us all that we can. But that is why we need to understand, if such a position is difficult to reach, and it is difficult and potentially impossible. Wallah, I'm not trying to put anyone off, but if you just listen to what I'm about to say, you understand exactly what I say, what I want to get to. You want to reach such a position, guess what? You need tawfiq.
Yeah.
Without tawfiq, there is no 313. I can pray, I can fast, I can do everything that I need to do, plus I attain proximity to the Imam, plus I build a relationship with the Imam. Without tawfiq, I don't reach there. Tawfiq is an interesting subject, because tawfiq sometimes can come from the smallest thing. Tawfiq can come from feeding one person. As a result of that, feeding that person, tawfiq has reached me. And tawfiq can be taken away very easily as well. Tawfiq can be as simple as looking at your parent in the wrong manner.
Yeah.
Tawfiq is gone. You see how important we say hassas. This topic is sensitive. This topic is. So that is why, sorry if this was a prolonged answer, but there's just many angles that we are trying to put together for this, inshallah.
Inshallah. Shaykhna, I want to touch upon a bit the companions of Karbala and how we compare to them, but we'll do so after a short break.
Inshallah.
So, dear viewers, please join us after the break. We'll continue to talk about the companions of Imam Sahib Zaman and the companions of Imam Al Hussein alayhi salam.
Salamullah.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran will always say, shall I lead you to a transaction business-wise, which is beneficial for you? Which transaction business-wise is beneficial for us? Those who serve Allah, those who spread the words of Al Muhammad, salawatullah wa salamuhu alayhim. And this is done wonderfully. You know, in our talk shows live in London, when we have them on Monday nights, the number of people whose lives have been affected. I've seen people, Sheikh Abbas Ponjos told me, Sheikh Yahya Seymour said Ali Nawab done great work on the nights of Qadr. I've seen, you know, the morning shows where everybody's coming together discussing social affairs, you know, behind the scenes. The great work that's being done. I've seen these guys working diligently because we do want to produce more shows to make sure that Imam Al Hussein is known by Muslims and non-Muslims. When you invest with a basic company, with a basic bank, they give you a return. When you invest with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I don't think there's a return like an investment with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
I don't think so.
And Imam Ali alayhi salam told Imam Hassan, the heart of a youth is like an uncultivated piece of land. Whatever you throw on it, it accepts. We have to recognize that our youth at the moment are listening to all sorts of ideologies, all sorts of philosophies. And our aim on this channel is to try and address as many areas as possible to provide the Islamic worldview, Islam's relationship with other religions, Islam's relationship with the concepts of citizen of a state, Islam's relationship with, you know, the household and the family structure. The only way we're going to do this is by the support which has already been there in amazing ways, but we need more of that support, inshallah. Every time there's a salawat mentioned on this channel, it's thawab goes to you. And every time the Ahl al-Bayt are mentioned, the thawab goes to you. And every time that there is a show looking at the Quran, the thawab goes to you.
Welcome back, dear viewers, to the awaited. Before the break, me and Sheikh Ibraheim were talking about or touching upon some of the characteristics of the companions of Imam Mahdi, the 313. But as we've mentioned previously and we have spoken about previously, Sheikhna, what is the slogan, let's say, of Imam Sahib Zaman or the followers of Sahib Zaman?
The slogan would be Ya litharat al-Hussein.
Ya litharat al-Hussein, Salam Allah al-Hussein. So we can't talk about Imam Sahib Zaman without discussing Karbala and Imam Al Hussein alayhi salam.
Definitely.
And Imam Al Hussein had his companions. And we always say, Ya laytana kunna ma'akum. We wish we were part of you, we wish we were with you. So the companions of Imam Al Hussein alayhi salam, they sacrificed everything. Some of them weren't even Muslim before Karbala. Some of them, I wouldn't say had no idea who Imam Al Hussein was, but they didn't know of his status until Karbala. Yet when it came to Karbala, they sacrificed their lives, they sacrificed, let's say, their futures in the dunya. How can we reach that stage of sacrifice? Salam Allah alayka Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. Every day I say, may my life be sacrificed for you. And that means an extension to his grandson, Imam Sahib Zaman. But this is something we cry for every year, we mourn for every year, and we want to be part of every year. How, in your opinion, in your majalis that you've read, you say you dedicate a night every Muharram to Imam Sahib. You mention him every night, but you dedicate a whole night to him. How do you see the sacrifice for Imam Hussein and what we learn from the companions of Karbala?
The tear. What does it mean? To you, Hassa, for example, now, what does
You're asking me what the
yeah,
tear
what do you think the tear means to you?
So, there's, okay, this I'm going to give you a long answer this time.
That's fine.
Abu Abdullah, there's qatil al-ibra wal-abra. Yeah, so he died for the tear and for the, let's say, the lesson, the message.
Okay.
So we take the message from the lectures, from our studies, from his sacrifices. But the tear is what supports that. And without, in my opinion, without the tear, we haven't fully understood Karbala. It might be a bit of a stretch,
Okay.
but again, this is what I have understood from Karbala. The tear is the foundation to the message of Karbala. And we hear these stories, we hear these narrations, we hear ulama, khutaba, they say on the minbar all the time. The tear that is shed for Imam Hussein can extinguish hellfire. That's the power of the tear. I shouldn't stop at the tear, but I think the tear is the foundation to, or the start of the sacrifice for Imam Hussein. If we shed a tear for Karbala, for Imam Hussein, we shed our blood in some instances for Imam Hussein, or we sacrifice our, let's say on the basic level, our time, our efforts, our family. When we say bi abi anta wa ummi, we sacrifice everything for Imam Hussein. And that's how I live my life. I try to live my life. You know.
Based on that, I will take one step back and I will tell you the Imam said أنا قتيل العبرة. Abra is an addition people added. Lessons, yeah, we learn lessons from Imam Hussein, but he didn't say I am the martyr of lessons.
He said أنا قتيل
أنا
العبرة.
قتيل العبرة alone.
Done.
So the T holds what? That significance that he went on to explain. That T then needs to be in my day-to-day actions.
As acted upon, yeah.
The T is the foundation of Karbala, fine. The T extinguishes hellfire, fine. But that T, that drop of T that could extinguish hellfire, will do nothing if my a'mal lead me to hellfire. The companions were that. The companions shed tears for Imam Al Hussein before his martyrdom. The companions shed tears for Sayyidah Zainab before their martyrdom. And I'll give you an example that is quite close to my heart actually. Habib ibn Mudahar al-Asadi, when he comes after he goes to battle, then he returns to Imam al-Hussein. When he returns to Imam al-Hussein, he is crying, he is weeping. Imam al-Hussein says to him, "Oh Habib, did you remember your family? Did you remember your status?" Habib had a very high status. What did he say to him? He said, "My master, لقد أبدلت بأهلي أهلا وبمحلي محلا." I have replaced my family, and this is my family now. I've taken this family that I see, they're my family. ومحلي status, what status are you talking about? What does it mean to be the leader of tribe of Bani Asad? I am a companion of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein.
The high status.
Oh Habib, so why are you crying? He said, لقد أبكتني هذه الواقفة بباب الخيمة. This woman that is standing by the door of the tent is the one making me cry. Imam al-Hussein looks around, he sees Sayyidah Zainab standing. And he says to her, "Oh my daughter Zainab." Habib was an old man. This is how he talks to Sayyidah Zainab. He says, "Oh my daughter Zainab, do not cry." She says, "Oh Uncle Habib, do not come short in supporting your Imam." He said to her, "I will do whatever is within my power to support Abu Abdullah, but I cannot forget that Amir al-Mu'mineen told me that you will be walking between the streets of Kufa while all the men will be looking at you." This is the companions of Imam al-Hussein. The companions of Imam al-Hussein is that person that said, if I was to be slaughtered and set on fire and for that to be repeated 1,000 times, I will never leave you, O Abu Abdullah. Are we ready for such a sacrifice? If Imam Al Mahdi comes knocking, I have spent my life saying, يا ليتنا كنا معكم. We wish that we were with you. And then what? Do my a'mal show that I wish I was with them? Because I look at, for example, a companion of Imam Al Hussein. He sees that the sun is now at the time of Zawal, at the time of Dhuhr. He turns around to Imam Al Hussein. He says to him, Ya Aba Abdullah, I can see that it is the time of Dhuhr. He says to him, and it is in its, the time has just started. May Allah bless you and may Allah make you amongst the Musallin on the Day of Judgment. These are the companions of Imam Al Hussein. Does this apply to me? When I say, now, I will say one thing. ما علمت أصحابا كأصحابي. No one will reach the status of the companions of Imam Al Hussein. But let me take them as a role model. Many times we come forward and we say, I can't be like an Imam. The Imam is immaculate. Okay, but what about these companions? What about Abu Dhar? What did Salman do for the Prophet to say, do not say Salman al-Farisi, Salman minna Ahl al-Bayt, say Salman al-Muhammadi. What did he do? What did Abu Dhar do? What did Al-Miqdad do? What did they all do to receive that status? And likewise the companions of Imam Al-Hussein. What did they do for Imam Al-Baqir in his sajdah to say, Alhamdulillah hamd al-shakirin laka ala musabihim. Alhamdulillah ala azimi raziyati. Allahumma. What does he start with before I carry on? He says, all praise be to Allah, the praise of those who are thankful upon their calamity. Alhamdulillah, praise be to you upon this great calamity that has come upon me. Allahumma ja'anni وجيها بالحسين يوم الورود وثبت لي قدم صدق عندك مع الحسين
وأصحاب الحسين.
Imam al-Baqir is saying, and the companions of Imam al-Hussein. On the Day of Judgment, he wants to be with who? Hussein and the companions of Imam al-Hussein. So what did they reach? Let's look more into their lives. Let's look at how they lived their lives. No, some of them weren't Muslim, as you said. But it was a moment. Likewise, there were people with Imam al-Hussein and it was a moment that turned them against them. We have what we call Husn Aqibah and we have what we call Su' Aqibah. Tawfiq.
All goes back to Tawfiq.
All goes back to Tawfiq. But that Tawfiq is also something I'm in control of. Certain actions I do increase in my Tawfiq. Other actions I do take away Tawfiq from me. So let me put my Tawfiq at the highest limit that I can, such that when the Imam stands, his back is towards the Kaaba. ألا يا أهل العالم إني أنا الإمام القائم. ألا يا أهل العالم أنا الصمصام المنتقم. ألا يا أهل العالم إن جدي الحسين قتل عطشانا. ألا يا أهل العالم إن جدي الحسين سحقوه عدوانا. What he first starts with, calamities of Imam al-Hussein. He died thirsty. He was trampled over by horses. Am I then ready when he shouts that and he says, Ya li tharat al-Hussein? Will I then rise up with him and say, Ya li tharat al-Hussein? May Allah allow us to be amongst his companions and amongst those who take the revenge of Imam al-Hussein. But at the end of the day, I ask this question. We are talking about companions. 313, where are they? Are they there? Question. I don't know. No one knows. Have they been completed? No one knows. Maybe they have. Maybe it's not the only sign of Imam Al Mahdi. Maybe there are other signs that need to be fulfilled before his reappearance. But I question, if they aren't, where have we been? ليس منا من لم يراجع نفسه من لم يحاسب نفسه ولو بالأسبوع مرة. They are not amongst us, Imam Al-Sadiq says. The one who does not hold themselves accountable at least once a week. When is the last time I held myself accountable? You want to be a companion of the Imam? Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi afdalu salati wassalam. One day a group of people stand by his door. They want to enter the house. A person comes to him. He says to him, my master Zainul Abidin, your Shia are by the door. He says, no, they are not my Shia. So, but they claim that they are your Shia. He says, I cannot see the signs of worship on their faces. It's important. Then I usually like to use other examples as well. For example, we have narrations that say, do not befriend certain individuals. Do not befriend a stingy person. Do not befriend a person who has cut ties with their families. Do not befriend a person who's a sinner. Do not befriend, do not befriend. If the Imam is saying do not befriend these people, do you think they'll be of the Shia of the Imam?
Of course not.
So let's take these and let's make sure that we do not have these qualities
don't
and
fall into
rather
those,
possess
yeah.
the qualities of the companions of Imam Al Hussein that
Salaam
allowed
alaykum,
them to be ما علمت أصحابا كأصحابي. The companions of the Prophet are not comparable to them. They are high. What did they reach? Let me look more into their lives. We are muqassareen. And I am of the muqassareen, by the way. I am of the muqassareen. Talk to me about Habib, Zuhair. I'll tell you. Bring me a random name. Maybe I won't have much to talk to you about. I am of the muqassareen. We are all muqassareen. We need to look more into these companions. What allowed them to have this status? What is it that granted them the tawfiq? They weren't the only Shia present at that time.
Of course not.
Some of them were put in prison, others, fine. Some of them arrived late to Karbala. Why were they not granted the tawfiq to reach in time? That is a separate story. Maybe Allah's will is for them to live after, for them to be part of other movements, fine. But what did they do to receive the tawfiq to be in Karbala, those that were? These are things I need to start asking myself. See, it's all about a matter of pondering. To be a companion, tawfiq, ponder. What can I do for me to receive this tawfiq?
Inshallah, we ponder upon these characteristics and these actions and we act upon them as well, inshallah. And we pray to Allah that we are amongst the companions of Imam Sahib Zaman, learning from the companions and the sacrifices that the companions of Imam Al Hussein did in Karbala. Like I said, and like you said, their sacrifice is a lesson to us, and every tear we shed for them needs to be acted upon and is a lesson for us of how we should be when it comes to Imam Sahib Zaman.
Ahsant.
And on that note, Shaykhna, I'd like you to conclude this with the dua, inshallah, and then we bid farewell to our dear viewers.
Actually, I was hoping that we wouldn't conclude because there's so much more that we could potentially talk
we can talk about so much, Shaykhna, honestly.
But before the dua, I just want to
Please
say one thing,
please.
which is build a relationship with Karbala, because the companion of the Imam is gonna be those who have a relationship with Karbala. If you are from today saying, conflict, Hussein and Yazid, this conflict, this one is Arba'in is a carnival, this is that, this. If we are saying this from now, believe me, when the Imam comes, Imam is going to want a heat. Imam is going to want a flame in the hearts of a believer that would never extinguish. Imam is a person that talks to his grandfather and says, لأبكين عليك بدل الدموع دما لأندبنك صباحا ومساء. I will wait for you day and night. وَلَأَبْكِيَنَّ عَلَيْكَ بَدَلَ الدُّمُوعِ دَمًا. And I will cry for you instead of tears, blood. This is the Imam. The Imam comes out with 5 calls, 3 of which is in regards to Karbala. Let me have that flame of Karbala. Let me build that relationship. It is of the things that might grant me tawfiq.
Inshallah.
But let me do it with sincerity.
Yeah.
Let
Ahsant.
me do it with sincerity. Because wallah, what does not come with sincerity, and may Allah allow us to be amongst those that are sincere. This is genuinely a dua a person needs to make. When you have seen the light, it is important to then hold on to that light and to be of those that are sincere with this light, because it is a very dangerous path. Sometimes seeing the light is what causes a person to move more astray. Inshallah, with sincerity, it is of the things that might give us tawfiq. We were talking about tawfiq. It is not the sole thing, but it is of the things that will help us with tawfiq.
Inshallah. Inshallah.
And lastly, I pray Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة بن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم واجعلنا من أنصاره وأعوانه ومن الذابين عنه ومن المستشهدين من بين يديه برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين.
اللهم صل على محمد.
أحسنتم
شيخنا. Thank you so much. Inshallah, we will always serve with sincerity and we lose that ego that we have when it comes to serving Imam Al Hussein. On that note, dear viewers, thank you very much for joining us on another episode of The Awaited, and inshallah we will be seeing you very soon.